Hey guys, Lynn Cox here. Stress and performance anxiety expert. Well, I work with people who experience that as well as other symptoms related. That aside, I just wanted to hop on. It's so much easier, I find, to hop on and do videos than to write posts. I'm actually in about 15 minutes going to be on my way to see a client. I'm excited. We're having an in person session, which I do always love. I mean, this works very well remotely, but in person is actually my favorite to do. But a couple of points that I wanted to share that I was thinking about prior to visiting with this client, seeing this client, and seeing what we could do are two things. Number one, the first time there was a reach out from this client was about a year and 3 months ago. And so I am very excited that there is a continued persistence on their part to try to see some change and recover. That's number one. That's number two, and I've discussed this before, the length of time often that people will wait to prioritize themselves can often be too long. I see it as perhaps unnecessary suffering, but also everybody in their own due time. And number three, this keeps on coming up. So, one of the ways that I always ask people to prepare for our sessions, and we discuss this over the phone before we actually have our first session, is that number one, they need to decide what is the thing that they'd most like to address at the start, because we really kind of deal with one major presenting issue. It's got other things attached to it, yada, yada, yada. That's not what's relevant here. But I ask them to start to imagine, take notes if there's somebody who likes to write things down and have it noted, or if that's how their creative process works. But really get into the imagination, get into their imagination, and imagine what is going to be different in their life when this thing is no longer an issue for them. And this is the thing that people struggle with. I'm gonna post up again another video that I did on the power of imagination and creativity. Imagination, creativity, so much more important than logic when we're looking to kind of like kickstart ourselves out of I'll call it a funk, right? Like a way of being that we haven't been able to get out of. It actually requires a level of, I'll say, energy. We need to excite the mind enough about this new state of being, this new way of living, in order to be able to adopt new belief systems. Being under hypnosis while this is happening, which is simply a slower brainwave state, it's a relaxed brainwave state. Alpha typically, maybe you're going to go into theta, you're highly suggestible, but we need to have this excitement. And this excitement comes from that client themselves starting to create this picture, this ideal in their mind as to what is changing, what's going to look different about my life. So this client in particular, when I asked the question, the response was, well, I'm not sure. It was kind of like, I'm not sure, and kind of like, what can I pick? And I said, that's entirely up to you. That's entirely up to you. You know, we get very stuck in these ruts of living, and it becomes living and feeling and experiencing, and it becomes difficult for us to imagine something different. I always do say any age therapy, this kind of therapy can be really effective because we can change our deeply held beliefs. We can rewire them through repetition and things like hypnosis. You know, other people have other ways. They can all be effective, but this person had said, expressed the feeling that I sensed was not fear, but almost like timidness around it. We are, you know, it does kind of almost like tear at my heart a little bit when I talk to people and I can tell that they're struggling to start to engage their imagination and their creative side and creating the picture of how things could be for them. But it's also really exciting once we have a session and I see the change. So I know it's going to be okay. I just wanted to bring us back to the point that we can get stuck in these grooves. We really need to be able to tap into our creativity. Great ways to do that are to have some fun. What makes you laugh? What makes you feel like you're in your body? What makes you feel alive? If you're kind of distanced from that, think back to yourself. What did I really love to do between the ages of, say, like 6 and 12? That can be a starting point. You need to kind of like get the juices flowing, the creative juices flowing, get the energy moving, access your imagination and creativity to start to imagine the picture of what could my life look like. This is why we have avatars, people that we admire. They can be a starting place. You know, look at those kinds of characteristics, qualities, traits, ways of behaving. That can kind of give us an idea. And for some people, attaching it to, well, what kind of life would you like to see your child have? How would you like them to feel? Or somebody that they really care about in their life. Sometimes it's easier for people to project that onto others that they care about. They can find it difficult to do for themselves. Anyway, point being, imagination, creativity, super duper important. It is never too late. I'm really excited that this person reached out after such a long period of time since the first connection a year and 3 months ago. I'm optimistic. I've seen so many people have radical transformations, and I just encourage everybody to play with the best case scenario and spend some time thinking about that and have more fun as a way to access that part of your imagination and creativity. So have a wonderful day, everyone, and I will talk to you soon.